next one. Oh, Dr. Myron Hall, who is benefit. We are very blessed to have Dr. Hall. I just met him on Tuesday and got him in here at the last possible minute, so we're so thankful for you to be here.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you to her better half.
An extra 2 minutes, sir.
That's probably the last time you hear that, Tim. Until you win, you gotta win. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to take the mic because I may move around a little bit. I'm Dr. Myron Hall. I'm running for U.S. Senate to represent the great state of California and all of you beautiful people as well. It's a blessing to be here in this very tumultuous time. I heard something today that was quite funny, and it kind of brings some levity to the situation, but I saw a meme that said, if gas goes up $1 more, people are going to be calling in sick because they can't afford gas to drive into work. And it's funny, but it's true. I know this oh so well because when the inflation was this high 40 years ago, I was a junior, well, it was the summer between my junior and senior year in high school. And my mother must have been, she's gone now, and I haven't been able to talk to her about it, but she lost her house. And with inflation that high, as a single parent with 2 children in high school, it must have been tough working as a receptionist at the local exchange for the military base on that type of income. Can you imagine, with more than 60% of our population in this country verbally saying that they live paycheck to paycheck? The numbers are probably higher because people weren't surveyed or just didn't want to admit that they're living paycheck to paycheck. So we're in a crisis situation. We also have crime that's the highest it's been in 15, 20 years in most of our major cities. We have a border that's wide open. We have an education system nationwide, but specifically here in California, that is quite frankly failing us. When you have this many crises and problems in government or in a society, it's a reflection of poor leadership. 1 or 2 problems you can attribute to maybe 1 or 2 individuals or a segment of government, but right now we just have a failure of leadership, and that's why I'm running. When I had that situation, my mother, a person of faith, said, just keep your faith, do well in school, and stay out of trouble. And she had hope that this great country would provide me an opportunity on the principles on which it was found, the right to pursue happiness. If you worked hard, there would be an opportunity for you. Every individual would have that right. Right now, that's not so clear. So I'm running to bring back leadership with character and integrity that will come up with plans to do things for the American taxpayer and have the integrity to admit and be accountable to admit when things aren't working, so that the American people will trust and continue to trust in that hope and continue to trust in the great American flag. Now, if you stand for America first, sound economic principles, law and order, which fully supports our law enforcement and really works to embrace their authority, because really it's not the money, it's not the defunding that gave us the majority of our crime problem. It was the undermining of their authority. We need to bring back the respect of all of our government and all of authority, teachers, our municipal leadership, and more importantly, law enforcement, so that they deter crime. Right now, they're not being respected. And then lastly, we need to make education accountable, so that the resources for education from the federal level are being directed to to the primary asset, that's the student, while the parent, the primary stakeholder, is fully empowered with knowledge and consent for their children until those kids are emancipated and leave home. When I joke with my friends, when I left for school, either at my grandmother's house or with my mother, the last thing we heard wasn't goodbye. It was a finger and saying, don't let them call, don't let me hear from them today. Because they knew that they had the rapport with the school, and the school respected them. And they would be the first call. You would actually beg, don't call my mom, I'll take any punishment. I'll do extra assignments. So we need to get back to that. So what I will do, I have a plan. And what I'm not hearing a lot out there are plans. We know that there are problems. And we can attack the other side, but we need them, especially as candidates in this state. We can't alienate them by calling them names or calling them foolish for electing other people before or making mistakes. They made a mistake. Let's show them the way to get back on track so that we can all work together to bring back that hope that my mother had and people like her had before. So if I'm elected to the U.S. Senate, on day one, to reduce the spending that we're continuing to have due to this pandemic, I will work to establish legislation to establish criteria to end the emergency status under the auspices of this pandemic. By lunchtime that same day, I will work to start closing our border, if not impeaching some people. Thirdly, I have a plan called the Fuel and Feed America Act. And what that will do is re-energize and engage our fossil fuel industry, and also increase and reduce regulations for the agricultural sector, get seeds in their hands, because they need that right now. They've already met with the administration weeks ago and said they need seeds to plant for the next harvest. Then they need funding. So that act will also help the agricultural industry. Because what we have looming now due to this war is a looming food shortage. And that could lead to famine. More than 30% of our grain is produced in the Ukraine-Russia region. So that's something we need as leaders to be able to sustain for our people and abroad. Lastly, I have a plan called Inspired Hope that will incentivize private sector companies like 3M and Honeywell to bring their companies into the inner cities around these homeless places to build manufacturing sites and employ the homeless people that are employable and make the PPE, which right now over 60% is being imported from, guess who? China, which is the next big threat attacking, with threats to attack Taiwan. If that happens, we're going to be in the same boat we were 4 months ago with Russia. We don't want that to happen again, and it's going to be worse because if they make 60% of our PPE, guess what? Hospitals are going to be in a crisis situation, and our patients are going to be in a problem and have problems as well. So if you can believe the things that I've said and stand with me on these items, vote for me on June 7th, and we'll bring back the respectful leadership in our country and bring back the hope that my mother and people like her had for that in this country, and that the respect of that great flag behind me right there. Thanks a lot.